Hello ladies and gents, I am the Beanie 101 and I'm bringing you an NHL 16 Hockey Ultimate Team video. Today I'm going to show you a very cheap way to get started in NHL 16 HUT. These are the cheapest and best non-rare gold players that you're going to find in the game, so everyone can be picked up for 300 to 400 pucks. This entire team cost me less than 7,000 pucks to make. Our first line is going to be Juicy Jokinen, Charlie Coyle and Louis Eriksson. Jokinen and Eriksson have both got really good hands and decent speed, and Coyle is the type of centre that has no real weakness. He's got really strong checking, he's got good shooting, so this first line can put up some very decent numbers for you. I particularly like playing with Charlie Coyle, and Jokinen, man, he's got some good dekes, he's got some good moves. The second line is a little bit more of a maverick line, so you've got a couple of youngsters in Emerson Eatham and Jonathan Drouin. They're centred by Nick Bonino, who is another centre who has no real weakness. He's got some good solid offensive numbers that he can put up. Eatham on his left hand side, he's a sniper, but his shot isn't the greatest, but he does bring some good size, and Drouin has some pretty sick hands. You can get some good moves out of Drouin, even though he's not necessarily going to be quite so physical. The third line is a good example of a line that has no real weakness, but no overwhelming strength either. So Michalek, Soderberg and Patrick Berglund, you can see that they've got pretty consistent stats across every single category. Good skating, good shooting, good hands, good checking, good defense. They're not going to let you down. This could be your third line for many seasons in HUT because they're just going to do a job. The fourth line is a few slightly younger players. I've got Riley Sheehan, I've got Lyndon Vey, and I've got, is it Adam Lowry, I think? Apologies if I've got the guy's first name wrong. Lowry brings some size and some defensive nature into the fourth line. There are a few players that I've probably missed out, so I do want to make a particular note to a couple of other non-rare goal players that you may want to put in your team and worth keeping an eye out for. First off is Burakovsky, the Washington Capitals left winger. He's got good size and he could put up some really good offensive numbers. He's got great skating, shooting and hands. So actually you can put this guy on your first or your second line and he's got some good moves. Now you've got Nieto and Ryder from San Jose and Arizona respectively. Again, players that aren't necessarily going to be physical. So similar to Jonathan Drouin, not quite as good as Drouin, not quite the offensive stats, but they could be players that, if you can pick up cheap, will certainly do a job for you for the first couple of seasons of Hockey Ultimate Team. At centre, there's not really anyone outside of the main players that I've shown. Maybe Tommy Wingels is someone that you could pick up, a player that could possibly centre your third or fourth line, no real weakness, Raquel is a player that is possibly got some potential and his overall doesn't necessarily showcase exactly what he can do on the ice. And on the right wing, who are we missing on the right wing? Let's go in. So we've shown Berglund. There we go. Jerko. And to be honest, Kulemin is another player that you could possibly put in there. The reason why I chose Riley Sheehan is because for the fourth line, he's got slightly better checking and defense. But if you want to go all out attack, then you could do much worse than Jerko. And Drouin we've shown. Bo Bennett is actually not too shabby, good speed, and he's got decent size as well. Same goes for Matt Reed. He can do everything really apart from hit. So those are a few players that you can stick into your forward lineup, and they're going to be able to make sure that you're competitive. And all of these players are 300-400 pucks. I'm also guessing that a lot of these players you probably picked up in your returning user bonus or you're getting in free packs. So keep an eye out for them. Moving on to defense, we've got a first line of McNabb and Boyle. Good solid defenseman, not going to lie. They're nothing particularly special. The D-men especially, it's hard to get anyone that's fantastic. Ryan Ellis is an example of a good offensive defenseman that you could get relatively cheap. The only thing he lacks is size. And likewise with Jared Spurgeon, someone who is decent offensively, but really doesn't have a great amount of size. If we have a look at some of the other players that you could possibly use from right D, Ellis, Boyle, maybe Tom Gilbert. He's not the greatest, but if you want a little bit more size on the back end, then you could swap in with Spurgeon. Rundblad is another player that you might want to take a look at, but that's really it. There aren't many right-sided defensemen that would really be worthy of your team outside of the three that I've already shown. On left D, you could have someone like Michael Del Zotto. The reason why Del Zotto isn't in my team is just for chemistry purposes. I'd rather have the offensive demon that I have on the right-hand side than on the left. Kevin Connaughton and Nathan Beaulieu, I think I've pronounced that correctly, are another examples of decent left-sided D-men that you could probably put in there. In fact, Beaulieu, being a two-way defenseman, is someone that you could stick anywhere up and down your defensive lineup and they'll do well. And in goal, we've got the St. Louis Blues tandem of Brian Elliott and Jake Allen. So these guys are really solid. Elliott especially has done pretty well for me in the few games that I've played so far. A special mention goes to the Detroit Red Wings goaltender, Petr Mrazek. So if you could pick up Mrazek, you can also get him for not many coins at all. So there you have it. This is a team that you can buy for almost next to nothing. So scour the auction house. Let me know if you've used any other non-rare gold players to build a decent team and you've got good results. Don't forget to hit that like button if you want to see some more Ultimate Team content. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again next time.